Good evening, Fernwood. My name is Neil, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch me take the time to watch the entire series of Mary Hartman, one episode at a time, 1 week at a time. Well, I appreciate you. We are heading into week 14 of the series. That would be April 5th, 1976. Last week, we really focused on just a couple of storylines, so I'll do a brief look at some of the things we didn't spend too much time on, like Kathy, who has been dating Dennis Foley, who not only is still quite obsessed with Mary Hartman, but is also still apparently dating Roberta Wallachek. So that's a bit of confusion there. We really haven't seen Martha and George all that much, although I'm sure they're quite missed, at least by me. The two storylines we spent the most time on last week were this: Loretta and Charlie have been misguided by Muriel, and that is to say that Charlie's ex-wife Muriel has shown up in the Haggers household and is sowing discord between the two of them, winning over Loretta while making Loretta really doubt Charlie's veracity in terms of a story about a scar that he gave her, which, Charlie believes he did, but as we saw, was entirely fake, is not a real scar. It is a prosthetic, tear offable device. Then in the Hartman household, we've got a lot going on, and that is really miscommunication and Mona McKenzie. I'm feeling the M's today. Of course, the historical sexual differences between Tom and Mary go way back to the very beginning of the show, but just a few weeks ago, Mary ran into Mona McKenzie at the local library where she finds all of her sexual information and engaged Mona for help. Now, Mona is a sex surrogate, and I could say a lot about the professionalism of folks that work in uh, Fernwood, Ohio, but generally speaking, I don't think that she was all that professional in terms of how she engaged with Mary and Tom. Suffice it to say that she basically seduced Tom, and then after a commercial break, Tom had definitely pulled away from Mona McKenzie's embrace, and well, it was just a kiss, but it was maybe a little bit too much for Mary and for Tom, to be honest. I feel that Tom and Mary are both looking for meaning. I think that they are doing it in very different ways. I think that they are somewhat restricted by the gender roles that have been attributed to them by society. So Tom looks for meaning in terms of, well, right now, most recently, Tom has been looking for meaning in his union office and running for union office and hopefully giving him a sense of pride in his workplace. He hopes that Mary will be proud of him just as well, but Mary has her own thing going on, and again, they are having difficulty talking about it. Mary, on the other hand, is looking for meaning in the way that she is quite tired of just being a housewife and doesn't seem to see the meaning in it. And to be honest, I'm not sure that I see the meaning in it. But that was all that she had, and it's all that she knows. So when she looks for meaning, her inputs are, or where she gets her information from, are the magazine articles and uh, television interviews. That would basically be the equivalent of looking to Reddit or Twitter for how to feel about your life. I mean, if I could very easily sum up Mary, it would be that she is looking for meaning and she doesn't know where to look. I wish they would look together, but that's what we've got. And especially lately, because Mary is at the center of so many of the plots of this show, her anxieties are starting to leak out. You will hear little high pitched groans coming from her that seem to be responses of her to her. They seem to be responses to stimuli that she's getting from other people, that she can't handle the things that she's taking. And lately, one of the ways that she has started to take out this anxiety, well, in a terse exchange between her and her daughter Heather, after Heather told Mary that Heather hated her, Mary slapped her in the face. And it immediately was apologetic, but it's definitely it's definitely starting to break down between the two of them. So that is my long-winded recap of kind of last week and the entire series of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Let's just head into the next episode, April 5th, 1976, and see what there's to say about that.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Daddy, you want some more coffee?
Thanks a lot, Muppet. Boy, am I starved. Whatever you're making, Martha, make 2 of them.
Pancakes, dear.
Now then give me an extra stack.
Yeah, me too, Mommy. I'm famished.
There. Oh, it certainly is pleasant to have a happy, hungry group for breakfast for a change. Isn't it nice? Everybody getting along.
It may not last too long if I don't get fed soon.
Oh, Daddy, here's 1 stack of pancakes coming up for you.
Thanks,
Mwah.
sweetheart.
What are you doing today, dear?
What am I doing today? I'm going to work.
No, dear. I meant the other dear. What are you doing today, other dear?
Well, Dennis has some time off, so we decided we're going to spend the afternoon together. Nothing special.
Hey, that's nice.
Oh, I hope so.
Hey, listen. Maybe he can take you to that police, that firing range, that rifle range, teach you how to shoot. Be pretty nice to learn how to handle a gun.
Well, actually, Daddy, we planned on spending a quiet afternoon. No violence or guns or anything. And why do I need, protection when I have him to take care of?
Here are your pancakes,
Thank
Kathy.
you, Mommy.
Now, don't overdo it, though. I can remember how dangerous it is to date on a full stomach. When my date asked me what we should do now, with that look in his eye, I always like to be able to tell him that I was hungry, and should we go out for a little bite to eat,
So,
Well, I just as soon eat before I go and see Dennis.
Oh, isn't she a marvelous little tease, Martha?
Sweet, sweet. Oh, Mary. Good morning, Mary.
All right.
Daddy. Hi. Can I talk to you?
I know what you want to talk about, and I don't want to talk to you.
I just want to talk to you.
Look, I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want you to talk to me. In fact, I don't even think I want to look at you. Excuse me, Mom.
Oh, and she was in such a good mood just a minute ago. She hardly touched her pancakes. Do you want to finish them, Mary?
No, they have sugary syrup on them.
Well, of course they got sugary syrup on them. That's the way they're supposed to be.
I saw this program on television the other day.
Never mind, Ma, I have to talk to you about Kathy.
No, first I want to talk to you. Has Tom been talking about me in the plant?
Yes, but Kathy's in trouble.
Well, let me tell you something. Whatever he said isn't true, I swear.
What do you mean she's in trouble? She isn't. Oh, you don't mean that she's. Oh,
No, it's not that, Ma. It's not that.
well, thank goodness.
pregnant?
I didn't think she would because she's been looking so well and happy lately. On the other hand, Mary, you've been looking kind of peaked.
Yeah, you got an iron deficiency or something?
Did you take a supplement?
I'm fine. I'm really fine. I mean, would the two of you just listen to me? I mean, I just have to tell you something. I mean, it's important and we have to do something.
Well, what is it that we have to do?
We have to stick together as a family. Now, when one member of this family is in trouble, everybody else should stand behind them and help them through it. Right?
What are you talking about?
George, I understand her. I know what she's saying. She thinks that we should all three of us stick together and help Kathy out with any problem she has.
That's it. That's right.
That's very good, Martha. What are we supposed to do?
Well, she won't listen to me, so the two of you have to do it. You have to forbid her to see Sergeant Foley anymore, ever again.
But why, dear?
Never mind, Mom, just believe me. I mean, this relationship is no good, and we've just got to stop it.
Well, I happen to think that Sergeant Foley is a very sensible young boyfriend. As a matter of fact, he may be the only human boyfriend she's ever gone out with.
Yes, Mary, everything he's got works. Now, what could be wrong with nice Sergeant Foley?
He's a law and order man, right from my heart.
Mom, could you pass the soup?
Yes. Mary, now tell me, what is wrong? Why should she not go out with Sergeant Foley? He's a very nice young man. Remember he got your daddy out of jail?
Yeah, and if Grandpa starts flashing again, he might come in very handy.
Oh, George, please.
You gotta believe me, he is really no good for him, and we have got to stop this.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think that Kathy's the one that's got the problem.
There is nothing wrong with me. I'm just your sister.
Oh, Mary, why are you troubling yourself like this? There is no reason. I think you should just just calm yourself and try to relax more.
Oh, God, you don't understand, Nina. I don't know what I'm gonna do. What am I gonna do? Nobody understands. I have to go home now. All right.
Oh, look, George.
Mary, if you told them what was going on,
Now, what's wrong
they'd
with
take your side.
Oh, George, I don't know, but I think she needs something stronger than Geritol.
Also true.
That there is my Uncle Leaniel. He's my daddy's sixth youngest brother. It always cracked me up that he was only 2 years older than me, but he was my uncle, you know?
He's a good-looking man. You sure do come from an attractive family. No wonder you're so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I'll tell you that Leaniel is a ladies' man, honey. You wouldn't believe it. At school, he's real popular. All the girls was always wanting to ask him to social affairs and stuff, you know, like class trips to see the Archway of St. Louis, you know, and birthday BBQs and the BYF sunrise services and treats and stuff, you know.
The BYF?
Yeah, Baptist Youth Fellowship. Everybody was in it. It's really
sure.
Oh, and look at here. Oh, Charlie, when he first started asking me out on dates, isn't he adorable?
I tell you, he always was a sweet-looking man. To look at that face, you wouldn't believe what a mean, violent temper it's hiding.
Charlie? I never seen no violent anger in Charlie. I mean, he always put me in mind of a cuddly little furry animal, you know?
Oh, I wish you wouldn't talk about furry animals because that always puts me in mind of that awful time that Charlie lost his temper and deliberate shot my sweet, dear hamster right through the eyes with a BB gun.
What? Charlie?
Absolutely.
I can't believe it. No, Charlie.
Well, I'm surprised you cannot believe it. I mean, you've been married how long?
5 years.
And you mean to say that in all those 5 years, he never sat down with you and said, quote, Loretta, I am Charlie Haggers, and I never shot a hamster through the eyes with 3 BBs, unquote?
No, I never said that.
Well, then. But don't feel too bad about it, honey. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's got his base instincts under control.
Yeah.
Of course, that fierce fight he had last night with you worries him, mind. But,
Well, it's okay.
you haven't by any chance got a pet hamster you haven't told me about, have you?
No, but the fight's all right. I mean, we've already made up and everything, you know.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, well, see, we had this session of hugging and kissing that you wouldn't believe, you know, even though it is the first time we've had a little storm over our little Garden of Eden, you know. I think I'll write a song about that. A rainstorm in my Garden of Eden. I think I'll work on that.
Honey, didn't you look in the mailbox? Didn't you look in the mailbox? It's here, honey. The royalty check from the... No, the royalty check from the record company is here, honey.
I can't believe it, Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, come on, how much is it for?
Wait a minute. I didn't open it yet. I wanted to save that honor for you. But I would judge from the fact that a body can't turn on the radio without hearing Loretta Haggard singing Baby Boy, that this here is one big bundle.
Come on, let's open it.
No, we gotta do it. We gotta do it right, honey. We gotta do it right. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present this enormous check to the newest superstar in the star-filled skies of country and western music, Mrs. Loretta Haggers.
Oh, I'm so excited I can hardly get those.
Well, come on, honey, come on.
I feel like it's the Grammy Awards or something, you know? And the winner is.
And the winner.
Oh. Okay, let's see.
What's that?
This check says, Charlie, this check says $11.44.
Wait a minute, that can't be right. That can't be right. Number of records sold, 104,268. Royalties, $11.44.
Charlie, that just can't be, can it? I mean, that can't be.
Must be a mistake, huh?
Well, I mean, what kind of mistake? $11. I don't know.
It would be like somebody in the office goofed. Or the computer. A computer error, yeah. The computer got jammed up. It must be that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it must be. I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be.
What a shame.
I must say that this meeting is going just swimmingly. This is just about the best step meeting I've ever seen. Ah, it's so gratifying. You people are just wonderful. I mean, the life stories we've heard so far are marvelous. I can't tell you how gratifying it is for us at STET to hear how much good we're being able to do for you. I mean, you came to us torn up in little pieces, not knowing which piece went with which piece. And now you've achieved a oneness, and isn't that what life is all about? It is. Well, the night is young. Let's keep our marvelous, life-fulfilling momentum going. Who would like to be next to tell the group what STET has come to mean in their life? Any volunteers? Mary Hartman. It's Mary Hartman, our newest member. Oh, Mrs. Hartman. Come on up. Tell the group just exactly what STET has come to mean in your life.
When Miss Walshak first asked me to, walk across the room and leave my arm there, and then come back, I thought to myself, there's something a little crazy about this. As a matter of fact, that's what I said to myself. I said to myself, quote, there is something a little bit crazy about this, unquote. And then I thought to myself, there is something a little bit crazy about this. But I thought, it is the exact craziness that we should digest as roughage. You see, we live in a very crazy world, with a lot of very crazy people, and this craziness that STET teaches us this is the craziness that we should, put inside of us. If we put this inside of us, it will cleanse us, and it will make us whole. I am cleansed, and I'm whole, and I am one, and I have achieved oneness. And I'm aware now that things like that my arm is a part of my body. You know what I mean? I am aware now I am not going anywhere without my arm. Nowhere. And that just means a great deal to me. I just can't tell you what it means to me to be one, to feel and Miss Wallachek, you know, like when she first asked me, you know, to put my arm over there, for a minute, I really did think I could do it. I mean, I thought, I could do that. I could leave my arm over there. And I realized, you know, I can't. I mean, you know, we're just not separate. I mean, we're just whole. And you know, I just knew that I couldn't do that. I mean, you know, we may feel like we're separate. And it may feel like life is all separated and all, but we're not separate. I mean, we're whole. And life is whole. And we are one. Or are we? I mean, that is one of the questions. Are we? I mean, do we still feel separated? Or do we not? You see, I no longer have this problem because I sort of ate my refuge, you know, so I don't have that, but I just feel like this is probably a good time for us really to be, you know, intimate with each other. I mean, I feel like you've all been very intimate with me, and that has really been a lot of fun for me. And I'd like to be intimate with you. My name is Mary, and my husband's name is Tom, and we live in Fernwood, and he works in a factory. I know that doesn't sound very intimate, does it? I mean, my husband part. I mean, the name Tom doesn't sound very... Well, I just want to tell you about Tom, because, you see, we have these discussions, him and me, and we just, they like this, we have this two-ness from our discussions. You know what I mean? We have this two-ness. I mean, I still keep my oneness, and he keeps his oneness, but we do have a two-ness. It's like it's a double oneness, is what it is. It's a double oneness, and in fact, what this does is these discussions actually, what they do is they lead, you know, from his oneness and my oneness, it leads into a threeness. Now, this threeness is really a huge oneness. Which also, I mean, doesn't mean that we're still not, you know, that I'm still not a separate person. I mean, I'm a separate person. I'm very separate. I mean, used to be not separate. I used to be, I mean, yesterday, you know, before Stead. I love Tom Hartman very, very much. I mean, I love him so much that I can stand here and talk to you about him all night. And he loves me very much, too. In our love, we have, by we, I mean my various parts. I mean my group, you know, the guys up here. We have not experienced Tom for 11 weeks. Yeah, I mean, it was once, you know, but I mean, I don't really even want to talk about that, but I mean, we have, in fact, it's 11 weeks. It's not even 11 weeks. It is 4 days into the 12th week that we, you know, haven't. So, maybe that is a little, that does sound a little disconnected. That relationship sounds a little disconnected there. Let me tell you about Heather, my daughter. This is my daughter, Heather. Heather. I mean, this is a child. I mean, this child is just so... She is such a joy. I mean, she is just. I don't see her that much anymore because, she hardly ever comes home. She's at school friends most of the time. But, I mean, you can't ask for a better child, to form a relationship with. I mean, this morning she told me, that she hated me, which is a little discouraging when you're trying to form a relationship, with a child. Well, you know what the oneness in my life is? I mean, the real oneness is my sister Kathy. I mean, that is my one. I mean, I realize that Tom and Heather thing, they just sound a little bit disconnected, but my sister Kathy, my sister Kathy is away with a man for the weekend. I mean, my mother pointed out, and she's right, it's not the weekend yet. But my mother, by the way, she's very concerned with the ozone layer. She's just in general a very concerned woman who has had absolutely nobody to talk to for the last 20 years. And it is a miracle that I came here. I mean, it is just an absolute miracle that I came here. I can't believe I'm here. I just feel like it's just, you can see what a miracle this would be from what I've told you about my husband and my daughter. And, because, things not working with my husband, that we can't, or, we haven't much, and, yeah, we can't, and, my mother never did, and then my father just doesn't, this is such a fantastic organization. I mean, I just can't believe it. You are wonderful people. It is just wonderful to be here. I just feel so totally whole and so totally together and so totally wonderful. Has anybody seen my arm?
Talk a lot about that, but I don't know that I've processed that speech just yet. I think in the middle of it, I feel like there were a couple of seeds of absolute truth, and I feel like it's very clear to me throughout this show that Mary loves Tom and that Tom loves Mary. And that's really, even at their worst, that has never changed in my mind. But watching that speech, which to me kind of even rivals the giant one long episode of BoJack Horseman in terms of his speech to an audience, you can see so many layers of Mary trying to mask the pain that she is feeling. And it's so clear and true. Even with the love that she and Tom feel for each other, there's quite a lot of pain that Mary doesn't know how to address. The pain in her relationship to Tom, the pain with her relationship to Heather, the pain with her other family members, Kathy. I wish that Mary could just say the things that need to be said about Kathy, for instance, and Dennis going together. I wish that she was able to say to George and Martha, and maybe even leaving herself out of it, but uh, I wish that she could say to George and Martha that Dennis is seeing Roberta. At least that. Not to mention that Dennis is obsessed with Mary. I wish that she could say both of those things, and I don't really know why she can't, except that she is putting on a mask. She has been covering herself for the entire series. Of course, then there's Loretta and Charlie. I had forgotten that Loretta promised to give Muriel a big bump of money from the check that they've been waiting for I think like 2 weeks at this point, 2 weeks of episodes anyway. And that check coming back at $11 was just a little bit less than what I had expected. I was in my mind, I'm like, they're going to get 25 bucks. But it's $11 and change. That is indeed disappointing. Even more disappointing is watching the villain Muriel get her way in terms of wedging apart further and further Loretta and Charlie. And I hope that they're able to get past it. I expect that they will, but who can tell? Who can tell? There was just so much, and I can see Mary. I'm back on the speech stet. You know, she definitely needed to say something, but she is not as whole as she purports to be. I feel like, and I don't know, I know that stet actually existed, but I don't know the precepts behind it. But some of me feels like, hey, this feels kind of Scientology ish, where we have some buzzword that, if you're clear, then then things are good with you, and that would be the equivalent of being whole in stet, at least as this show presents it. Uh, Mary is not whole. I don't know that any of us are, to be honest, but, well, for sure, Mary has a lot of questions. I wish that she and Tom could collaborate towards finding them, and I don't expect that that's going to happen, but that's what I want. But Mary feels about as lost as ever, and I hope that that makes me ask questions about my own life, and I hope that anyone else who watched this maybe asked questions about their own lives. I don't know what else there is to say about it. So let's just say thank you again for spending some time with me as I watched the April 5th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Thank you again for coming along, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.